Welcome to the itdvds.com YouTube channel. This is just a sample of the training available at itdvds.com. If you would like to see complete training, please go to itdvds.com. Now let's begin the sample. Now the next level is RAID 1 plus 0, also called RAID 10. You're going to get great performance out of RAID 1 plus 0. It's going to perform better than RAID 5 and not quite as good as RAID 0, but pretty close. And you actually have many disk redundancy. Now the number of disks you can actually lose before you lose the data depends on which disks you lose. Because with RAID 1 plus 0, you actually are using RAID 1. You're having basically multiple mirrors. Let's say you've got 10 disks. You're actually going to have 5 mirrored sets there. And you're going to stripe the data across those 5 mirrored sets. So you're combining RAID 1 and RAID 0. The big downside of RAID 10, or RAID 1 plus 0, is that you're going to lose half your drives to redundancy as far as capacity is concerned. So let's say you've got 10 1 terabyte drives and you make a RAID 10 set out of those drives, you're going to only have 5 terabytes of usable space. So it gets kind of expensive because you lose all those drives as far as capacity is concerned to redundancy. And RAID 10 is the recommended best practice for your log files and your mailbox databases. There's also something called just a bunch of disks, or JBOD. JBOD, you don't use RAID at all. So basically you have a hard disk, you put the data on that hard disk, and that's it. There's no redundancy, there's no performance improvement by spreading the data across multiple disks. You're just using the disks. And normally we wouldn't ever use this in the real world. Well, I don't want to say ever, but normally we wouldn't use this on a server, JBOD. We would only use this in a situation where we have redundancy in our systems. So, for example, let's say you have a bunch of web servers in a load-balanced pool. You don't care if you lose one web server. So in that case, you might use JBOD. Now, as far as Exchange 2010 is concerned, and we're going to talk about high availability a little bit later on, we can have multiple database copies. So we wouldn't want to use JBOD for our OS drive, but we could possibly use it for our mailbox database and log files if we have, and this is recommended practice, if we have 3 or more mailbox database copies on other servers. So in that situation, we kind of, in theory, don't mind if we lose a drive because we've got a copy of the mailbox database on another server, and with high availability, that mailbox database copy will automatically start up and take over. Now for the test, it's important to know that we may use JBOD if we have 3 or more database copies. In the real world, if we actually have enough money to use high availability in our budget, we're probably going to include RAID in it because RAID isn't that much more expensive. And the consequences of losing a hard disk and therefore losing your whole drive and all your data on that drive is normally more expensive than actually using RAID. Now, again, with RAID 1 plus 0, this is going to be your most expensive RAID type because you're losing half your disks to redundancy. So it is possible to use JBOD in the real world, but again, for the test, know that it's definitely possible. So just a quick recap for the test. RAID 1, that's going to be your OS drive for the most part. For your log files and mailbox database, you're going to use RAID 10. The only reason you wouldn't use RAID 10 is if cost was a factor. In that case, you would probably use RAID 5. But if you want to do it as cheaply as possible and you have multiple mailbox database copies, then you're going to use JBOD.